Welcome into episode 13, lucky 13 of Parx Sportsbook Presents. G's with the man, Harry Mayes right there. What's going on, Har?
I'm in the middle of the vacation, still down here in Florida, actually in Brooksville, Florida, at my mom's place. How's the connection?
The connection's actually really good.
I'm actually on 5G.
It's definitely not Mike Kern's connection.
No, but that's what I was afraid of, because this is pretty rural over here.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's Brooksville, Florida?
Brooksville, yeah.
All right.
North of Tampa, about 45 minutes.
Ever since Conklin came on with Kern, I just find myself, like, when my wife asks me something and I don't know the answer, just going, I don't know. I mean, Rob, I don't know. It's just so funny that he does say that all the time.
I know. And it's not like he's putting on, like that's just him.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think back to all those years when he's doing Daily News Live and go, Michael B, I don't know. He asked like a question like, I mean, can the Eagles get Russell Wilson? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Is that the latest? Is that the big talk up there aside from James Harden?
I don't know, Har, because I can't listen to sports radio anymore. I just can't do it. No.
Wow.
And I'm sad to say, you and I come from that background. We did that for years. That was our livelihood. Yeah. But I can't do it because it's so predictable. And like, I can imagine like, your question of the day.
Yeah.
Should the Eagles give up 3 4s, 6 first-round picks, and Darius Slay? That whole thing.
Right.
To get Russell Will, do it.
Right.
And then the next day, the same thing, just rephrased.
You got to tweak it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Eitan and I back in the day did, I think, 3 straight months of weekday shows. I mean, Monday through Friday, 4-hour shows for about 3 straight months on Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I remember. That got so nauseating.
Terrible.
That's a great point. I think that was a tipping point for sports radio's single sport obsession. The Mariota thing because Chip Kelly was here and the whole thing.
Yeah, I guess it was 2013, I guess. Is that when that was?
God, is it that long ago?
Yeah, I think it was 20. Well, that was his first year.
Well, it was heading into his second year when Mariota
so then it was 14. Yeah, because they took Lane Johnson with the first Chip Kelly draft pick. I think it was 4th overall in the 2013 draft. Mm-hmm. They went Lane Johnson. So it would have been the next year, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the year Mariota. Who was the other quarterback in that draft? It was Mariota and somebody. I'm trying to remember back.
Boy.
I just can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either.
I mean, the package.
Was it Jameis Winston?
Yeah, it was Jameis Winston.
It might have been Jameis Winston. Yeah.
Who went number 1 overall to Tampa.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it was him.
I remember the packages we were talking about and Sal Powell and
do the deal. Yeah.
Oh, it's just all.
I mean, it's what we had to do to get through the day, man.
Yeah, because God forbid if we were to talk about anything. Well, the Sixers were in mid-process.
Yeah, they were
tank mode.
Yeah.
And that may have been the year, Howard, that they actually I think 14-15 was the year they won 10 games.
Right.
So they were a non-conversation.
Which almost tied the record.
Yeah.
For wins, which I think they still have at 9 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't they 9-73 one year? With that's what ended up getting them Doug Collins, I think, in the draft
in the 70s, right?
Yeah, and I think that's how that worked out. I'm not sure, but bad.
I think you're right. And then, I mean, the Flyers at that point were actually good, and they lost in 7 games in that playoff series to the Rangers, who went to the Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
With Steve Mason between the pipes. Who knows what the Phillies were doing in 2014, because that was not a good time.
No, they were bad. I mean, that they were in the midst of their holding on to the old guys from the World Series days, and just terrible. I mean, their last wasn't there. When was the year Ryan Howard got hurt in the playoff game?
That was 2012.
12?
Yeah,
because that marked the end. That was the official end of the run. Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
In 2011, every year they just got, after the Yankees World Series in 2009, they got one step lesser.
Yeah.
To the World Series, and eventually that year, when Howard blows out the Achilles on that last at bat.
Yeah.
And that was it. And he would never be the same as well. Let's tell people real quick about Parx Sportsbook because, you got to get the app. I've been telling people, Har, like, if you're not ready to just jump fully in, because you got the tournaments here now.
Oh, yeah.
Download the app and just look at all the different ways you can wager. And the fact that you can just like dip your toe in the pool and not with a lot of money just to get comfortable first.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the way to go for some first timers here.
I agree. I mean, now with all the excitement surrounding the Sixers, like every night now that when they play is must-see TV. They got the Knicks coming up at home, I believe tomorrow night, which will mark the home debut for James Harden, which I was fortunate enough to be able to watch Sunday's game down here because it was the national game.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's the first time since maybe a big-time playoff game a year or two ago where I was actually in front of the television set 15 minutes before the game started in anticipation of watching a Sixers game. It's that's the kind of effect a player and a trade like they pulled off last week has on people.
Yeah.
It's must-see TV. I'm actually going to the game on Monday night, 2 days after I get back from Florida. They play the Bulls at home.
Oh, cool.
And I just got a text this morning from some old college buddies that one guy got a couple of tickets, and we're all going to go down. I mean, it's, I haven't been to a Sixers game and since I had one of those 11-game season ticket packages a few years ago when Embiid was really coming on strong. And they had first gotten Simmons, and there was a whole lot of excitement around, buzz around the team. But it's probably been since then that I've been to a game.
Yeah. And well, he is even, when he played as an opposition, he was one of those guys when he came to town, you go, okay, I want to see that guy. He's a spectacle player.
He is.
Like Curry's that way, right?
Seth. Steph. Not Seth.
Yeah, not Seth.
Although Stephen A. will have you thinking that Seth Curry is also that kind of a player. He's still bemoaning the fact that Daryl Morey had to give him up in the trade.
Yeah, and they kept Maxey and they kept Thibault, but they gave up Seth.
That's the genius of the whole thing. Look at Tyrese Maxey. He has now emerged as the number 3 guy. Tobias Harris is now 4,
which is great.
Yeah.
By the way, yeah.
Yeah.
And you look at it and I go, does Stephen A. think that they had Steph Curry all along?
That's what I'm thinking. I think he's got his Currys confused.
Yes, actually. A little too much Curry, Harry.
Yeah, a little too much. I like the Thai curry versus the Indian curry myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's good work. Yeah. So grab the app, grab the Parx Sportsbook app, and you can get in on all the action. That game that Harry's going to be at, the different games in the NBA, also obviously. The college hoops coming up, the tournament's going to be, it's one of the most wagered on, events on the sports calendar year in, year out. Plus you can wager on the hockey action, maybe baseball at some point. I wonder, do they have a line here on the Parx Sportsbook app if baseball will play this season?
I don't think that's available at Parx. That sounds like one of those offshore type of deals, like our buddy Jimmy Shapiro would send us in an email.
Yeah.
With some, island casino in the Caribbean putting up odds for that.
I don't want to bet the odds on Phillies wins. I want to bet the odds on how many games they'll play.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's the under.
Well, there's a big one tonight, though, in college basketball locally. Villanova hosts Providence tonight at 6:30. And Villanova's a 9.5-point favorite at Parx. I'm looking at it right now. And remember, we did this one of our earlier episodes. They were playing at Providence.
I remember that
in the game, and Villanova was a favorite on the road at Providence. Providence is ranked, I think they're 11th in the country or something like that. They're both ranked, but they were both ranked there. And I'm like, man, Villanova's like a 4.5, 5-point favorite at Providence. That line's telling me something. I took Villanova, and they ended up covering the number. Tonight, they're 9.5 over Providence. Seems like a lot, but I'm going to take the Cats.
You're going to ride with the Wildcats.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm taking the Cats.
All right. So there's a play for you as well to put it on the Parx Sportsbook app and download it on your phone. Open up an account, deposit, and your first bet risk-free up to $500. Follow Parx on the social channels as well at Parx Sportsbook on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and get great content there and much more. And bet the same game parlays, live in-game betting, you name it. It's all there for you. Harry, so you're still in Florida. You're at your mom's now. But I saw that you suffered an injury.
Yeah.
And see, you're holding it up there.
Yeah.
What did you stabbed yourself?
Yeah, I accidentally stabbed myself. I was actually trying to cut. You know how everything you buy these days is shrink wrapped, like to the gills, right?
Yeah.
There's plastic everywhere, whether it's the hard plastic that's really tough to get off, you have to cut it out, or if it's the really tight shrink wrap. Well, this thing, I went out to Lowe's and got something for my mom, and her house broke, and I, went out the next day to go get a new one. So I'm trying to get all the wrapping off of it. And, I'm getting frustrated, and I'm just, grab this knife, and I'm just going to try to, get a sliver started so I could pull it open with my hand. Well, the knife slipped and went forward into my left hand, which was holding the actual item. And it went right into sort of the palm of my hand, the pad underneath my thumb.
Oh,
oh yeah. And it opened up about an inch and a half, long gash, and the thing started bleeding like crazy. So immediately, I'm thinking, well, I just ruined the trip. I can't golf, for 2 weeks. I'm done. And I'm holding these alcohol pads and stuff. My mom poured hydrogen peroxide right on it. And then I stuck a couple of alcohol pads on. I'm trying to get the bleeding to stop. And it took a couple of minutes, and it kind of coagulated a little bit. And then we decided I better go to the hospital and get this, patched up properly so it heals properly, and I don't have any issues with it. But we sat down and I ate breakfast first. So here I am eating the homemade pancakes that my mom made, and the sausage and the bacon and everything. And I'm holding my hand up, making sure that the blood doesn't start running down my arm. It happened right here where I'm doing the podcast, actually, in the kitchen. So then after breakfast, the wife ran me up to the hospital, and I went in the emergency room and actually had a pleasant emergency room experience at Oak Hill Hospital, right here in Spring Hill, Brooksville area. And I was in and out of there in an hour, Jason.
What?
Yes. Checked in fully, the whole deal, got looked at, had to go back out in the waiting room for maybe 15 minutes. And they called me right back in and patched it up and wrapped it up. And I was out of there in less than an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That you may have to call the people at Guinness.
Efficiency.
That may be a record.
Yeah, it really was. The most efficient emergency room experience of my life.
It's one of the reasons why you're always hesitant to go to the emergency room. Like, geez, this is worse than buying a car.
Oh yeah. I've spent actually, like 12, 13 hours in a waiting room, in an emergency room, just before I was seen one time.
Yeah.
So it can be a disaster. But it wasn't.
The emergency room kind of defies the logic of emergency.
Yes. Right. Emergency in air quotes. They should put air quotes outside on the lit up sign, right?
Just because we call it the emergency room doesn't mean anything's going to happen like it's an emergency.
Right. Just because you think it's an emergency doesn't mean we think so. That's basically it.
Your definition of emergency doesn't necessarily correlate with ours.
Right.
You may have got here as fast as you could.
Exactly.
You should have just slowed down.
Yeah. Take a number and have a seat. We'll call you. Yeah.
It's like the deli counter on an Eagles Sunday.
Right.
Right. You go there, you're like 92. You look up at the ticker, you go, oh shit.
It's 18.
41.
Right.
And Mum's there ready to get 17 pounds of lunch meat.
And gabagool.
Yeah. Can I get a hot pound of half cap? When I worked at the deli here, when I worked at the Clark's Corner Deli, there was this old mum that would come in every week, and she'd order her provolone and everything. And it's saying, I'll have a half a pound of hot capicola. She said, a half a pound of hot cap. She'd say, can I have a hot cap, a hot cap, a half pound instead of half pound.
Easy
of hot
for you
cap,
to say.
Half cap a hot pound, as she would say it every week. Jesus, God, that was impossible. But my moms were always. My dad was a big lunch meat guy.
Yeah, well, I am too.
Yeah.
I enjoy it on a nice, boar's head.
Yeah, my old man would go, what are we having for dinner tonight? Let's have sandwiches. And he'd go to the Colonial Village butcher shop. That was still there. Best lunch meat in town. It's like literally 3 minutes from my house.
Right.
And you get the pound and a half of cheese, some roast beef, ham, turkey, and you get the torpedo rolls and one of the big pickles out of the pickle barrel.
Yep.
And that was a great dinner.
The butcher shop is a great experience, and it's few and far between anymore. There's one that we go to over in Plymouth Meeting called Venezia's, kind of Plymouth Meeting, East Norriton area over there, and just fantastic. I mean, you walk in there and it has that smell, where it just smells so clean.
Yeah.
Everything is crystal, perfectly clean. You got to go into a really clean butcher shop deli place. Those places are awesome.
Yeah, and my dad would make his sandwich. It'd be this huge, and he always pointed out he'd get done making this piece of art, and you go, look at that. That's a Dagwood.
Dagwood.
That's what he called it.
That's the ones that are about like a foot high, right?
Yeah. You go, look at that's a Dagwood right there.
How do you get that in your mouth?
I don't know. My dad was a big man. So yeah, he could get it in there. I think you met my dad before, right?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did.
I mean, my dad was 6'4". I mean, I'm 5'7".
But still, I mean, just because you're 6'4" doesn't mean you necessarily have the mouth capable of opening for a Dagwood.
Yeah, he made a big sandwich. Man could eat, no doubt. He was like 6'4", but like a beanpole, like 210, right? Made no sense. I'm 5'7", like built like a tree stump.
Yeah, how did that happen?
I don't know. My dad, I got my dad's hair, which is none,
right,
and my mom's height because she was 5 foot.
Oh, jeez.
How screwed did I get, Har?
No, wait, he was 6'4" and your mom was 5 foot?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I get his hair, my mom's height. That's bullshit.
That's a bad hand.
Yeah, it is. Exactly right. That's a horrible hand. But it is what it is, and you make the best of it, I guess.
Right.
Some of the things going on right now, like you mentioned the Sixers, and I saw this report, and I wanted to comment on Twitter about it, but I decided not to. But that Ben Simmons, is having some back soreness, and they're going to slowly work him in, and it was from Shams, and
he's not going to play against the Sixers on March the 10th. That's the bottom line. Yeah,
exactly.
That was basically the purpose of putting that out there.
Yep. To set the stage and soften. It was a soft trial balloon of him not playing in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Well, he's got the back soreness. You know what I mean? Because now that becomes the new sort of conversation. Now it's no longer about his his mental issues or his unwillingness to take any heat from Philadelphia fans. He's got a back issue now.
Yeah. I mean, even if I was a player and I had a back issue and I was coming back to take on this team that I felt like wronged me and everything, I would play that one game. My attitude would be, I'm going to play that game. If I have to suffer and miss a couple more, I'm going to come back and play that game and show them. But this guy's such a pussy, right? I mean, he just does not want. He's got no ass to him. Yeah. And that tells me all I need to know about the dude, that he's trying to avoid that game, not do everything he can to play that game.
Yeah, I agree. And you saw where, Herb McGee, the great Hall of Fame coach from Philadelphia University, was just stepped down, retired. And he was quoted because I think, the Sixers were trying to get him to work with Ben years ago. And Herb McGee basically said he doesn't want to get any better. Now, if a guy like Herb McGee is saying that, it's not just you and me, on a podcast or on the radio saying it. It's like, that's, as legit as it gets.
Yeah. And he's got no, Herb McGee doesn't come with an agenda.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Herb McGee, I mean, he's been around for what, like 60 years coaching, 70 years almost?
Something like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah. He's an all-timer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was on John Clark's Instagram page. I'll try to find the exact quote.
Wow.
But that's telling.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that this dude just doesn't want to play and doesn't want to come back into this town is stunning to me. I mean, it's so bad. Let's get to the NFL real quick. We're going to get to some other stuff. But, I saw this post from, I guess it was Kyler Murray's agent saying, the first part about it said, Kyler wants to talk directly with the fans of the Arizona Cardinals. Here's a statement from his agent. Well, that's not direct. First of
exactly.
all, exactly. I'm going, wait a minute. If he wants to talk direct, why is it coming through his agent?
Right.
You have interest in trying to pry him out of there, Har?
What's that?
Do you have interest in trying to pry him out of Arizona?
No, I don't.
Small?
Yeah, I mean, he's a super talented athlete. Everybody knows that. But no, I think you already kind of have the light version of him here in Jalen Hurts. I mean, I don't, I wouldn't want to, if I'm going to go get another quarterback and it's going to be a smallish quarterback, it's going to be Russell Wilson, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the quote. I got it here on John Clark's Instagram at JClarkNBCS. The quote is, Ben is the type of guy who really doesn't want to improve. Legendary coach Herb McGee, the shot doctor, says he could have helped Ben Simmons with his shot, but didn't want to improve, according to him. Wow, so that tells you all you need to know.
I mean, geez, this guy is so entitled. God,
well, he's already an all-star, 3 times all-star without being able to shoot. So he's of the mindset that, no, I don't really care about maybe being LeBron 2.0. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. And look what I'm getting paid.
Right.
I'm good to go. And the other part of it is, what runner-up defensive player of the year and all that. But you're right. That's an entitlement thinking, hey, I'm good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Why should I have to? I mean, I think he is in the gym a lot and doing all that. But
yeah,
I mean, what else is he going to do? He's a pro basketball player.
Right.
He's not going to go out and get a side job in the off season.
I mean, I'm beyond it now. I'm glad it's over, and you can count now James Harden as part of the process because you used Ben Simmons to get him. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like a sort of a completion of the whole thing. I'm over the fact that Ben Simmons is gone and he never materialized into what we wanted him to. But for that brief period of time, we really thought like we were getting the next LeBron James.
Yeah.
And he could have been. He could be if he just would work on it.
If he had the same work ethic as LeBron James and the same compete level as LeBron James. See, that's what makes athletes super athletes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys are freaks physically and all that. We know that.
Yeah.
But to be a freak physically and have that willingness to do whatever it takes to win and compete, that's why you have the special. That's what Embiid has too, frankly.
Right.
And Harden.
Yeah. He looked in pretty good shape on Sunday. I got to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't look all.
He didn't look all fat to me.
Yeah, he looked at one point he was getting a little chubby, but he's lost all that.
Yeah,
and it's hard to tell because of the beard.
Yeah,
and you can't see his face.
Now, I was debating this with the wife during the game on Sunday. Should Embiid try to grow the beard too, like that kind of beard?
Ooh, would
that be pretty cool to have both of them?
Like ZZ Top in the
exactly. Like this, it'd be like the basketball version of ZZ Top.
Well, ZZ Top was a 3-piece.
Well,
and Frank
the guy named Beard didn't have a beard, right?
Yeah, Frank
he was
Beard,
the drummer.
Yeah, I think he died recently too, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah,
I know that Dusty did.
Right,
the bass player from ZZ Top, but the thing is with the Sixers, and you bring up the process. I was not a fan of the process. I'm still not a fan. All of those first round picks, only one panned out. And there's about 5 or 6. So Nerlens Noel to Markelle Fultz to Jahlil Okafor to Ben Simmons and Embiid, who kind of fell to them because he was hurt at number 3 that year. But
that was the Wiggins year. He played on the team with Wiggins.
Yeah, on Kansas.
And I remember watching, because that was all we had to do as far as basketball back then is watch the college games to try to figure out, who do we want for the Sixers. And I'm watching Kansas, they're on practically every week. And I'm like, man, this big dude can play. Forget about Wiggins. I'd rather have the big guy.
Yeah. Winless for Wiggins, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Did you see the Daily News the other day?
No.
I guess it was Monday morning's Daily News, the day after the game against the Knicks.
Are they still in print, Har?
Yeah, they are actually. And they still come up with good headlines and they could they're very clever. Brooklyn Dodger Harden torches Knicks in New York City return, then hits MSG fans with final shot. Quote, it felt like we were in Philly, end quote. And the big headline is Big Apple enemy number 1. They call him the Brooklyn Dodger. How great is that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good line.
It is.
Very interesting. All right, so let's get off the Sixers.
Right.
I want to ask you, we're not going to go political on this show or anything, but I want to ask you something regarding Russian athletes. Because obviously what's going on with Russia and Ukraine is horrific. And the Ukrainian people, man, they got balls. These people a dude stole a freaking Russian tank with his tractor from his farm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
These people got balls. But, a lot of people, Ovechkin was asked about it last week. And, Dominic Hasek came out and said that Russian athletes should not be allowed to play in the NHL right now, which I don't agree with.
I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, I mean, that's going too far. And frankly, that's an authoritarian kind of mindset.
Yeah. What do they have to do with this stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like Ivan Provorov, who plays for the Flyers, I know that the media requested to speak to him. And it's like, this dude's been here since he was 13 or 14 years old.
Right.
He speaks better English than you and I have.
Right. He's basically American.
Yeah.
He was born in Russia.
Yep. And still has family there and the whole thing.
Sure.
But, what do they want these athletes to do? They're not going to renounce their country and to give you a pound of flesh.
Right.
Or a good
headline. Yeah.
And put people in danger. Like we sit here, I don't know what they should do, but one of the issues some of the Russian players may have that don't have dual citizenship is next year they may not be granted a work visa to be able to perform in North America. So I don't know what the answer is going to be for all these players. The IOC and all the different FIFA have now sanctioned all the Russian teams out of international competition.
Right. I mean, that's one thing. That to me, that's different than, hockey players that have been in America for 8 years, 10 years, whatever, playing in the NHL. I mean, if you're basically going forward like with the World Cup or with, Olympic type stuff, if you want to say, yeah, the Russian teams can't come in as sort of a weapon, to weaponize the whole situation, that's fine. But I don't think Ivan Provorov should have to suffer anything in the NHL. I think that's ludicrous.
Yeah, even a guy like Ovechkin, who's been a long supporter of Putin's, he spoke out and kind of said, no war and all that stuff, but he's not going to shit on Putin because he said, that's my president. So I know people want like a pound of flesh. I mean, Formula One is basically today having what they're calling an emergency meeting. There's a Russian driver by the name of Nikita Mazepan, and they're basically going to kick him out of the sport today.
Wow.
I mean, I don't see any way
that's overreach.
Well, the thing is they already removed the sponsor. Drivers in Formula One often come with a sponsor. It's why they get a seat. And Uralkali was their big sponsor for the Haas F1 team, and they removed Uralkali from all the stuff. It's his father's company, and his father is a Russian oligarch.
Oh, okay. Well,
this guy didn't earn his way there.
Yeah,
he came with all the money because of his father's a billionaire in Russia. So I think they're going to boot him out. But I don't know where this whole thing's going and how it's going to play out. But
is he any good?
No, he's horrible.
Oh, okay. Well, then who cares?
Yeah, he didn't earn it. They call him Nikita Mazaspin.
Yeah,
because he always spins.
I was actually watching some of a race on Sunday. I think it was an IndyCar race down here in Florida in St. Petersburg. Did you catch any of that?
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, it was. It's like through the streets. It's like a Grand Prix kind of thing.
Yeah, I saw some stuff on the practice. I know a guy that ran in Formula One absolutely blew a dude up in practice. Roman Grosjean. So
I think that name Nikita. That's a pretty cool name if you're a Russian.
Yeah, Nikita Kucherov.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with all this, but it's pretty insane with what's going on over there. And the dude, the Ukraine president, is one tough son of a bitch, isn't he?
I really haven't been following any of it. I stay out of it.
He's out there like news. Fighting.
Oh yeah, I just know that they haven't. Twitter hasn't banned anybody though, have they? From Russia?
I don't know
any of the leaders. Yeah,
I'm using Twitter specifically now, Har,
to promote stuff, right?
Yeah, for promotional purposes only.
Right. The only problem is then you get shadow banned anyway, and then your stuff isn't seen by nearly as many people as it should be.
What are you, Shander?
Well, he's right. He's got a point. I just don't need to see it every day about how, if only 1,000 more people would have seen this bet, we made you money and all this stuff.
Yeah. Bananas.
Every day.
So, with the hand, are you on the shelf for golf, and for how long a period of time here?
I'm
You
gonna
off the tour?
try. I'm gonna try on Friday in Myrtle Beach to play to see if I'm good enough to play on Friday. That'll be a full week, and we'll see. I actually swung a wedge yesterday a few times on the driving range before my wife went out and played, and I couldn't really grip it properly yet, but we'll see by Friday. But if not, it's going to be 2 weeks max.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
No,
because there's a muscle in that part of your hand, right?
Yeah, it's actually like this right in here on my other hand. It was like right in that pad underneath your thumb.
Yeah,
I was actually pretty fortunate because I think there's some pretty good vessels in there, and I got right in between two of them on the left hand. Had I gotten a little bit more to one side or the other, it could have been a whole lot worse. And it didn't go deep enough. It didn't do any nerve damage or any tendons or anything like that. So everything's good. It's not swollen, so I'm thinking it's healing nicely.
All right. Well, I mean, if you have a nice slice to your game, you got an excuse at least.
Right. Oh, my arm.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, by the way, I stumbled on a new TV show that I wanted to get to before we're done.
Oh, I have one too, actually.
Okay, so remind me. Or you want to do it now?
Yeah, do it now.
All right. Well, my mom has watched everything on Netflix and Amazon Prime. Everything. Sometimes twice over. Series, episodes, binge, the whole deal. So she's back to watching a TV show from 2006, 2007 timeframe, which I did not watch initially because it was on network television. It was actually on ABC, believe it or not, because when you watch it and you're thinking this was on regular television, this had to be a Fox type show. No, it was an ABC show. It's freaking hilarious. In fact, season 3 might be one of the best seasons of comic television that I've ever seen.
Wow.
Boston Legal.
Oh yeah, that's with what's
William
his name?
Shatner.
Yeah,
is in it. Yeah.
Is Dennis Leary in it?
No. Well, he might be in one of the other seasons, but he was not in this season.
Really?
But it is absolutely just tremendous.
Bill Shatner, huh? Boston Legal.
It is really, really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So on Netflix, I just saw it the other day. I don't know. I guess it just came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I like shows from this period. Although I did not watch Game of Thrones, it just never caught me for some reason.
Yeah, I watched it,
and I never watched the show Vikings. But there's a show on there now called Vikings Valhalla.
Oh, okay.
And it's like that period and all the Vikings that were coexisting in England at the time in like the 1500s or whatever. They were celebrating a very sacred holiday they called St. Bryce's Day. And the guys that were there, that worked with the king of England at the time, were summoned to the castle and murdered as a way to weed out the Vikings. And then the king decided that the coexisting of Vikings on his land was not going to happen. So he had them all exterminated.
Oh, wow.
So Vikings from all over the world have descended upon this area in the name of revenge, right? And they've come from Greenland. They've come from all over. But the problem is the Vikings, some are Christian and some are pagan.
Right.
So they have a little bit of a civil war with it amongst themselves as well. The Christians don't want to fight alongside the pagan Vikings.
Right.
But they're all Vikings. And I'm watching this show. I think it's 8 episodes. I'm about 5 episodes in, and it is really good.
Now, what's it on again? What is it? Netflix?
Yeah, it's called Vikings Valhalla.
All right. Well, I'll have to check that out when I get back home.
Yeah.
That actually sounds pretty. How many seasons are there?
Just one. I think
just one
came out. Yeah.
Oh, good. So there's no catching up you really have to do.
No, not a lot of binge to this one where you got 3 seasons, in a week and a half or whatever. So,
right. Yeah. In addition to William Shatner, James Spader is outstanding. That's
who I was thinking.
In Boston Legal. And Candice Bergen plays a really good part in it. Also,
Murphy Brown? Was that Murphy Brown?
Yeah. It's a law firm, obviously, and she's one of the partners. And Julie Bowen, who's the perky blonde from Modern Family, she's in it. And she's really good. It's a really good show. Funny as hell. It's like so irreverent. Like they couldn't put this on TV anymore today.
Yeah.
Like it's back when you could actually make fun of things.
Yeah. You can't, you're right.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
Yeah. It's great.
That led me down like a path the other day. I think I sent something to you too, just like some old Howard Stern bits and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that. And then
yeah,
I was listening to like some old Opie and Anthony with Anthony Cumia just
yeah.
doing dice in totally irreverent
Oh
ways.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll never have entertainers on broadcast radio like that again
No,
because you can't.
you can't
You'd
do
be
it.
canceled.
Yep.
You'd never make your way to a big market
No.
to be out for the masses to hear you because you would be fired in a mini market.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
So what's next on the trip, Har?
Another day here, leave here tomorrow, and we head back. We're going to split up the trip home, which if you did it straight, which I've done it, is about 17 and a half hours. So we're going to go midway is Myrtle Beach. We got a couple nights in a hotel up there in Myrtle Beach, and then we'll go the rest of the way on Saturday.
Okay, so you stop in Myrtle Beach for 2 nights there, kind of check out the scene and a little R&R, and then make your way back up here to the Great White North.
Yeah. Now, what's it like up there as far as the weather?
Well, when you're coming back this weekend, Har, I think we're looking at 70s.
Really?
Yeah.
What? But rain? Usually, when it gets warm this time of year up there, it rains.
Yeah, there may be some moisture involved. You're right about that.
Yeah.
I'll look at it for you, but I know it's been cold. It was like lower 40s yesterday.
Right. Which is pretty seasonable.
Yeah.
You know?
So this weekend, though, Saturday's only going to be 50, but Sunday 66, but a 40% chance of rain.
Okay.
And then Monday only a 20% chance of rain. Higher and 71. You may have to get out and head to the club here and play around.
That's when I'll be Monday night. I'll be going to the Sixers game.
Oh, okay.
Sixers Bulls.
All right. Well,
how about that? The Bulls. They're an upstart. They're like the top team in the East, aren't they? Them in Miami.
Yeah, I like that though. Like there's certain teams you want back in the mix, and the Bulls are one of those teams.
Yeah,
like that's a good market. You want
it
back in the mix.
In the mix.
Yeah. Last thing for you, Har. I sent you this tweet from Eric Alper. That Eric Alper, he does he's a music guy from Canada.
Sure.
And he just puts out like innocuous tweets sometimes, and the responses are pretty funny.
I follow him. He follows me on Twitter.
Does he follow you, Har?
Yeah, he does.
That's a big follow. He's got almost 1 million followers.
I know,
but he does follow 287,000 people.
Yeah, a lot of people. I'm not that special. Let's be honest.
He said, "What's a song with a great guitar solo in it?" And I was just like looking at the responses, and I got the immediate response from me is always "Comfortably Numb" because I think it's the best solo in the history of solos.
Okay, and that was on there. I saw a lot of people said that. Comfortably Numb.
Yeah. And actually, the first solo in "Comfortably Numb" is the better solo in "Comfortably Numb" because there's 2.
Okay.
Before the second verse comes in, there's actually a guitar solo. The song doesn't have the structure of many normal rock songs, but what would you put on that list of what song has a great guitar solo in it?
Well, one in there that I did scroll through that was one of my favorite songs in my youth had a great solo in it, and it was I think it was a bunch of session musicians in LA that formed the Knack. My Sharona from about 1979, I want to say, had a tremendous hard driving guitar solo in there, and I would be remiss if I didn't put in anything in by Leonard Skinner, anything by them.
Yeah.
Pretty much every song has got a tremendous guitar solo in it.
And you've been watching that documentary.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
Pretty good.
Really good. Yeah. The other one you mentioned, Pink Floyd with "Comfortably Numb." I would go Another Brick in the Wall Part 2.
Wow.
I always really admired, David Gilmour and his structure, the way he structures a guitar solo.
Yeah.
Like it's got a certain, a start, it's got a climax, and it's got an end.
Yeah. And it almost is like you can sing the solo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When there's so much melody to it that you can almost sing the solo.
Right. It's almost like a separate song within the song.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind of
absolutely. Yeah. It's a separate hook in a way.
Right.
One of my favorites, it's probably number 2 on my list, is, I know you're not like a big metal guy, but on Ozzy's Mr. Crowley, the job that Randy Rhoads does on that solo, it is so good. and it's so melodic.
That guy was unreal.
That is an unbelievable solo. There's two solos in that song too.
He played that double neck guitar a lot, didn't he? Kind of like Jimmy Page had.
He would dip into that on occasion, but he was more of a flying, the polka dot flying V. Yeah. Black body with yellow polka dots and the flying V he would play. And
that's a Gibson.
Yeah. So good. And that solo is just fantastic. You have the obvious ones like, Kid Charlemagne and and
anything by Steely Dan. They've got some incredible guitar work throughout their catalog.
You know who else had good solos, Harry? Boston.
Yeah. Right.
Really good. And a lot of where dueling guitar solos with two guitars, like kind of playing
the Eagles did solo. That too with Walsh and Felder.
Yep. And they would play it in a different key, like the same solo, but a different key.
Different parts of the neck. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a great sound out of doing that. You know what else I saw on here too? You know what else is going the solo from Journey's Stone in Love. Neil Schon is a good player.
Neil Schon. Oh yeah, outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what was that effects, I should say, that Boston was known for, where they got that sound? On that first record, man, because it's as unique as it gets.
It's like this scooped out type distortion, right?
Yeah.
And it's just got, I don't know if it's a chorusing effect. It's definitely not a phaser, but there's some kind of chorusing effect on that, because you're right. Nothing's ever sounded like it since.
Nope.
To be honest.
Nope.
It's some of the greatest tone you'll ever hear.
And speaking of Eric Alper, I just noticed on his Twitter, he's got a post up here with a picture of Dee Snider way back in the day, in the early days of Twisted Sister. He says, Dee Snider, lead singer of Twisted Sister, is completely on board with "We're Not Gonna Take It" being used by Ukrainians amid Russia's invasion. How about that? You remember those videos?
Oh, they were great. They were with little mini movies.
Oh,
is that a pin on your uniform?
A pledge pin on your. That's from Animal House.
Yes, exactly. I interviewed Dee a bunch of times when I was doing rock radio, and he is an absolute beauty. He obviously does the radio show now. I forget what it's called.
Is it on Sirius, or is it like one of those syndicated things on weekend nights on national?
I think it does both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like Dee Snider's, not Garage, but I can't remember what it's called. But
no, not the Underground Garage.
That's Little Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what Dee's is called, but all right, let's put a wrap on it, Harry. Let's get you back to your vacation down there in Florida. Let's tell the people once again about Parx Sportsbook, because that's where you get the app and you get the $500 risk-free bet just for signing up, depositing, and opening up an account. And you had to play. It was Villanova over Providence. Villanova taking on a big number here.
Yeah, they're laying 9.5 at home. An early start tonight. I think it's a 6:30 tip.
Wow.
For Villanova over Providence. Good game in the Big East.
All right, so Villanova tonight. Get that in on the Parx Sportsbook app, and $500 risk-free bet for your first one. Download it and just check it out. Check out all the stuff you're going to be able to do with the tournament, all the stuff with hockey and NBA and college and pro hoops, maybe baseball at some point, some other international stuff as well. Check it all out there. Player performances, points, over-unders on assists. It's all laid out there for you. Same game parlays, live in-game betting. Check it out on the Parx Sportsbook app and give them a follow on the social channels as well, at Parx Sportsbook on Twitter, on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as well. And you'll get great content there and daily specials. So it's going to put a wrap on it. Episode 13. Harry, enjoy the rest of the vacay. We'll